Right, so that's what I was expecting, to see whether or not the price would retrace into this demand zone before then moving up into the upside. So I am looking for longs. Again, we'll go over to the DXY in just a moment and I'll explain why I am looking for longs, but I don't want to enter into anything at this point in time. Because I think the DXY still needs some room to push up a little bit before going down. And so that push up on the DXY might bring us down to perhaps maybe this area, which would be really helpful because then this would be our unverified demand zone that we could use to tap into the market, which would be very, very helpful. So as I said, I do want to enter into a position into the upside, but I'm still very cautious. I still think that it's going to come down just a little bit more. And if it does, I'm going to get stopped out, right? Before it does the big move into the upside, you know. So I'm just waiting on that to see what happens. Let me drop down to the hourly. As I mentioned before, we did identify an area down here as our unverified tap in. Oh, I guess it is a verified. I didn't check this. Sorry, it is a verified tap in demand zone because the price did come up and then dropped, and you can see that it did enter into that demand zone before then pushing up. And that was the confirmation line to go long and enter into a position from this area here, targeting what 1 to 1.5, 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, whatever it is that you were going to enter, and that trade would have played out, although very slowly. And then yes, coming up here, grabbing that liquidity, then heading on its way back down. So what we'd likely be looking at is this zone here as being that potential unverified demand, that new unverified demand zone. It would be fantastic if the price retraced back into this area. That would be absolutely wonderful. So as I said earlier, I'm just waiting to see what happens with those talks. I think a lot hinges on those talks, and if something doesn't go right in those talks, then it is highly likely that we are going to see the DXY pushing into the upside, and we would then just see this beautiful fall into this area on the euro US dollar, or even fall a little bit further before seeing a slight retracement and then changing direction into the downside, depending on how long that conflict plays out. But if today we see a really nice push down or near this zone, and then on the lower time frames we see a nice confirmation into the upside, then okay, I might be looking at taking a long position of something such as this, targeting the previous highs over here, and then just putting my stop under here, 1 to 1.5. I'm a very conservative trader. I'm not looking for those 1 to 3, 1 to 4 risk to reward ratios. Majority of the time, I found that a high percentage of the time, my 1 to 1.5s and my 1 to 2s play out a lot than my 1 to 3. Obviously, it does, but it seems as though my setups are better accustomed to 1 to 1.5, 1 to 2 risk to reward ratios. So that's usually my setups. So like I said, I'm waiting to see whether or not there's going to be a push into downside. We may see a nice continuation into the upside, and if we do see a continuation into the upside, then I am waiting to see these lines get broken, and I would want to see what happens when they get broken. If we're starting to see some price action, long wick candles occurring, then I'm likely not going to want to enter into that position, or at least maybe we'll wait for it to break one of these lines, and hopefully by doing so, it will create a new temporary unverified demand zone for us, where we can then wait for it to come back for that retest, and then we can enter from there, right? So that's how I would play that for today. Let's head over to the DXY. Okay, so like I said before, I think the DXY does still have a little bit of room to go. Let me just jump out a little bit here. It's not been playing very nicely into our technicals whatsoever. Best to zoom out from the day. Yeah, look, I mean, it's just been this free fall into the downside, and if we just mark it out, we could see a potential retracement moving back up toward the zero point 0.5 fib. That would be kind of a very weak strategy, in my opinion, for myself on what I would be looking for. I mean, we could also see that the price come up and reconnect and bounce off the 200 EMA. So this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm really nervous about, because I'm feeling that there is a little bit of movement that it needs to do before it continues into the downside. But eventually, once those movements are done, we are likely going to see the price begin retracing or begin moving downward again, breaking structure here, and the next break, the next jump or the next retracement that is going to occur is probably around this unverified demand zone, where it will probably jump back up to whatever. When the price comes down, it will break market structure here. It will create a unverified supply zone here for us. And so when the price does come down to this unverified demand zone, it will likely retrace back into that supply zone and before continuing into the downside, right? So that is exactly that is what I'm thinking is happening. I am bearish. I'm very bearish on the DXY, even though on the weekly, I think we're bullish on the weekly. No, still, yeah, bearish. Yeah, still very bearish on the weekly. Oh, I think I was I think I got confused there with the GBP USD. Yeah, we're very bearish on the GU on the weekly. That's right. So the DXY, we are very, very bearish at the moment. Also, I mean, like I've not really been playing with the weekly so much, because obviously these are just huge areas of demand. And at this point in time with the DXY, we're just seeing this really annoying consolidation. We're not seeing a beautiful trend, this beautiful structure, something like this. So that's why I'm not really playing so much around with the weekly, because it's so easy to identify a really nice demand zone like we have here, which we have seen that the price had entered on the weekly. It is now retracing, and that's why we maybe could use that Fibonacci, I guess, to show that, okay, a retracement may need to happen before it pushes down into the daily demand zone, before then pushing back up to that, like I said, that unverified area of potential supply, where we would then look for another shorting position targeting these lower lows here, right? So that's why I'm not entering into anything at this point in time, because it just there's no clear sign for me that it is going to continue right now into the downside, right? I think there's still a little bit of movement that it needs to do before going down. If we were to mark that up, we could say, okay, beautiful break of structure here. We could take the last couple of candles from this area here, and say that, okay, maybe the price wants to retrace into this potential supply zone. And this is maybe what we might be seeing. Again, a little bit, that's why, again, a little bit cautious, because of this huge gap, really horrible gap over here. But again, that is also a potential thing. But I don't see the DXY going higher than what's that, the 99.189. I don't see it going any higher than that at this point in time, unless the conflict, the talks break down and the conflict continues, and Trump follows through with what he said he was going to do. Then the DXY is likely going to rebound aggressively into the upside, which pushes all of our major pairs down, right? Which we're not really. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Okay, so if you are looking for a trade, then I would wait for this line to be fully broken on the hourly frame. Once we see a really nice full body break above here, then I would do a very conservative target, and I would just look for about here. Be a very, very small trade. Be a very small. If you are looking to try and trade today, that would be the general direction I may go with. But me personally, I'm not gonna be entering into those markets today, unless I see a very clear trend forming. But once the price does enter into this area, then we would likely wait for a nice change of character, and then you can take a really nice long trade into the downside, and you can target these previous lows here, right? So that would be a great trade if it does play out today. So I would certainly be looking at that. If it does come, if it does continue to just fall, I would wait to see what happens once it enters into this position. We might see a short pullback, and then I would enter into that short position. Okay, so like I said, it's just a very cautious market at the moment. I don't want to be entering into positions without, like, first a really nice breaker structure, a really nice clean supply or demand, or unverified supply demand zone created, and then seeing the price retrace into that zone, and then showing me that it still wants to continue downward, and then I would enter. So I've got too many criteria that's not being met in order for me to enter. Gold. Okay, we kind of went off a cliff. Unfortunately, that was a trade that I suggested on Monday, but it clearly didn't play out very well. Waiting for that confirmation. And then I think this was when the ceasefire talks were announced, and then you can just see gold went off a cliff. So we're still in a very speculative market at the moment, and it's very frustrating. What's great is that we can see that the price had re-entered into this verified demand zone, so it's still holding very strong here at the moment. You can see that the price came down into this verified demand zone and is now pushing into the upside. That's on the hourly as well. Wow. Okay. So you can see really beautiful price action rejection candle here. It's worth noting I'm very bullish. I'm bullish on gold at the moment. You can see we are trading above the 200 EMA. We're creating numerous higher lows, numerous higher highs. So we are looking for long positions into the upside. And that would have been a really nice, that would have been a perfect entry point, really, because we would have wanted to wait. Let's drop down to the 15-minutely, actually. Drop down to the 15-minutely. We come down, we see that it tried to push itself back up at this point. This would have been one of our last points of confirmation. Let me just make that a little bit thicker. So we can see that it came down, it entered into, oh wow, it tapped the months open. And as we know, historically, these are fantastic areas of support. So it came down, it tapped that monthly open. We then saw the price pushing up on the lower time frame, on the 15-minute frame. This would have been my confirmation. I would have certainly have liked for the price to have retraced down into here before then entering into a long position. I would have done something like this. I would have put it just below here, targeting potentially just above this area here. So if I didn't catch that, I wasn't looking at the chart. So if I were, I would have likely done something like this, waiting for the price to retrace into taking this higher high over here, or creating a new higher high, or rebounding or whatnot. Okay. So that would have been a really nice position. I apologize I didn't bring that up to you guys sooner. Although I would have waited for that. Maybe I would have entered a bit too late on that one. Jump back out to the 4-hourly. Okay, so there's a really nice breaker structure into the downside. If we then see where the price might want to go. So we might, if we were in that position, like I said, this is likely where you would have wanted to target up here. Where's my drawings all changed? Here we go. You would have likely wanted to have targeted up here, but I think the price will come up to this area, to about a 50% pullback, and then push into the upside. Like I said, I'm looking for longs on XAU. That's the play I would be waiting for. That's what I'll be waiting for today. Or let me have a look. Let's have a look on the 15-minutely. Okay, yeah, okay. There's something kind of forming here. A nice little formation here. It did come back. It did retest. I would have, you know, I would be very conservative with this though. Yeah, target into roughly here. 1 to 2, 1 to 2. Perfect. That kind of plays quite nicely. All right, well, I mean that just seems like a bit of a um, logical entry. Could be, like I said, could be a bit wrong there. We'll see. I wouldn't mind taking that. I wouldn't mind because the price um, came up quite aggressively actually, and that's a bit concerning. But it came up, it then pushed down and then broke structure here on the 15-minute frame, and then came back for a bit of a retest here, which kind of shows that okay, maybe this would have been a nice entry. You know, what I would be concerned about is this liquidity annoyingly resting below all of these lows now. So maybe we will see the price doom and then go up. Hopefully not. Ah, well, we can see it's pushing itself down now. I've not been very lucky with gold on these last couple of days, so it's can be quite frustrating. Oh, BTC has just done everything right in terms of technicals. Everything right. Just look at that. Just remove this one because we're now on our way down. But price on the 4 hour came up. It broke structure. It created an unverified demand zone from this region here. We can see that the price then came back down to that demand zone and then pushed up. This was the confirmation line to enter into a position targeting these highs up here, which it did. So if you had entered that position, you would have been quite successful. And now what I believe might be happening is the price is going to come back down to this area here. So it's going to come down to this area, and we are starting to see a nice bit of bullish momentum forming on BTC. So we are on the way up, which is fantastic. So if you are looking to enter into a long position on the BTC, I'd certainly wait. We're likely not going to see a huge continuation into the upside without at least a small pullback. Yeah, maybe into the 0.5 fib, which if you're an FVG trader, then you would likely be waiting for the price to re-enter here or to close within this zone and then move up. Me, more supply and demand, so I would wait for a little bit of a deeper pullback on the 4 hourly frame. So that'll be great if that played out. It seems as though we've been quite lucky with BTC. Yeah, just look at that. I mean, it's just can't be more clear. Cannot be more clear than that, can it? Look at that. And it's just created another unverified demand zone, which we are waiting, which I would be waiting then for BTC to retrace into. And by the way, if this does retrace down, then this gives more indication that DXY will go up. So, as I've always mentioned, BTC is a highly risk on financial instrument, and so if this is going up, then a lot of people are likely selling gold or selling DXY US dollars, the dollar back, the green back, to buy and purchase this type of financial instrument. So if it's going down, that means people are selling into US dollars, and then the more people buying US dollars, there we go, pushes it up. So plays very nicely into what we were talking about with the DXY, whereby if the BTC does push down into this unverified demand zone, this will be its target, then onto the DXY, we are likely going to see it try and push itself a little bit higher. Well, it's just hit the hourly 200 EMA. Yeah, man, it's not really a fun market, is it? This is such a horrible pattern. Look at this. Just this and then come up and then it's so annoying. Oh, not it makes trading the DXY just so hard to judge. Anyway, we have a very clear target if it goes up. We have a very clear target if it goes down. You know, but at this point in time, even though we're getting very beautiful breaks of structure on the 4 hourly into the upside, it still seems very indecisive. You know, the market still seems very undecisive about where it wants to go. Although that was a very beautiful break of structure, but unfortunately it came back and it was a wick break. And I always say a wick break is a very weak break. So it's not a strong enough confirmation for me to enter into the upside. That's why I'm just cautious. I'm just cautious on that. Let's head back to the GU. Again, wonderful. What we are hopefully waiting for with the GU is for it to come down. And in order for that to happen, the DXY needs to go up. So again, we can take a look at the 15-minutely. I mean, yeah, these are all beautiful play, like textbook breaks of structure, full body break into the upside, but this was an economic announcement. So you got to be very careful with these types of things. When this was I think this was the inflation announcement. And that was inflation, or somebody knew about the inflation. Look at that, 6:15, 45 minutes before it was announced. Somebody knew something. We've been seeing that a lot on Forex trading these days. It's very frustrating. Anyway, so we can see a really beautiful break of structure into the upside, which would indicate, oh, okay, you know, let's wait and see whether or not it wants to continue up. So you got to be kind of careful with these types of things. What's nice though, or what we're seeing at the moment, is that a very nice break of structure now is just retracing beautifully back into this unverified demand zone. So are we actually just going to continue up? I guess this would be our confirmation here. So if we do end up heading up, I might go into a lower time frame for a better, more accurate confirmation, really, because I know when it gets up to about this area, right after we've entered, this would act as a very beautiful area of liquidity, which we don't want to be playing with so much. You see that? Just see that? So can be quite frustrating. But if we zoom out a little bit here, confirmation. Yeah, we could see the price continue upward, and that would be a much better target for us, a long target up here if we are looking to go long. Yeah. And in fact, that is the trade I'm waiting for. That's the trade I'm actually waiting to do. I'm waiting for that. But the DXY needs to go down. Or at least something more clearer needs to occur in order for me to enter into that position. GBP, US dollar. Oh, I didn't look at the USD JPY. Oh, okay. Absolutely frustrating currency pair. It played beautifully into the technicals, though. We can actually see from what happened from last week. Came down, created an unverified area of supply. It's now a verified area of supply. Came back up, and then it pushed itself down to this verified demand zone. And we can see that it pushed itself up again to that unverified area, or grabbing that liquidity, just resting above this area. I'm on the 4-hour frame as well. And so now we're looking for it to go down. And that means the DXY needs to go down. It's waiting to go down as well. So you see how contradictory a lot of these technicals are among one another. So it wants to go down. And the USD JPY is the second biggest liquid market in Forex. All right, so let me just remove some of these things here. Okay. So we can see that a bit of liquidity was taken at the top here. So more of an internal liquidity as well. I mean, true liquidity would likely be resting up here. All right, so if we are looking at the DXY is looking to go up, then this would be the target. This is where you would want to target. Yeah. if we're looking for the DXY to go down, then we would certainly want to see if this gets broken. If this gets broken, that should be our indication of a change of character into the downside. Enter into here, stop loss around this area, and you'd be targeting these previous lows here, seeing what happens when the price enters into this area. So that's how I would play the JP. I've not been trading USD JPY that much at all. Yeah. So look on the daily. Yeah, just a horrible. I hate. This market is just so annoying. Beautiful trend pushing up, and then just all of this consolidation. It's very, very frustrating. We are waiting. We are waiting for it to come down, right? This I think is from the last week's stream, where I identified a substantial amount of internal liquidity on the USDJ or the JU, and we're waiting for this to come down. We're waiting for it to basically do something like this: bounce, 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 like that. That's what we're waiting for. Hopefully, until it reaches around this area here. This would be a key turning point within the market on the JU. All right, let's drop down into the 15-minute frame on JU. Very nice, very, very nice. I found a pattern. I know this you'd consider that the double top, but you know, I found this really nice pattern where, okay, there's a really sharp impulsive move into the downside, and if we see like this W shape, it means it's likely going to continue down. So if you see that W, even if you got stopped out, maybe, I've been re-entering when that happens, and I've found some pretty good luck with that when I come across these types of shapes. So if it is going to continue down, we are likely going to see it retrace into here. On the 15-minute, we'll likely retrace here. We'd love to see a nice breaker structure. We'd like to see this 200 start trading below the 200 EMA, and then you could likely target some of these lows down here for that short position. So, overall bearish on DXY and overall bullish on all of the other USD pairs, or the other currency pairs. So the look is it all rests on where the DXY wants to go today. I think what I'll do, I'll just stay on the 15-minute. That's clearly the inflation announcement from this morning. Although 6:15, when did it come out? Let me just let me back test. I'll go back a little bit. Huh? Why is this not? Can I go on DX1? Replay. Yes, leave. Start new. On the hour. Okay. So I've just gone back an hour. Oh, I'm on the wrong. Yeah, just went back an hour. Inflation rate came out at 7. Oh, that's why. Yeah, no, 7 a.m. Yeah. That's really odd, right? You see? Look at that. Look at this huge spike in volume before the inflation rate was even announced. Look at that. Gosh, we see so much manipulation these days. It's very, very frustrating. Also, this is why prop firms ban economic news trading. Firstly, it's gambling, right? um, Secondly, it's like 50 as you're flipping a coin, right? And you get things like this as well, which is just very unfair for a lot of traders such as us. Can you see that? Huge volume, 45 minutes before it was even announced. Crazy. Let me leave the replay then. Okay, so this is back on the live market here. Yeah. Oh, very nice push into the upside. Look at this. So it came down, it hit that unverified demand zone, and now it wants to go up. So, when in Rome, that would be a nice little trade if it played out. Waiting for that confirmation, see what happens. Yes, I am fully aware that my chart can be very messy. I know. It's why is this not? I entered here. It'd be a nice little trade. I mean, if yeah, sure, if it continues upward. Also, if you guys notice that whenever there is sharp economic news or economic data that comes out that supposedly is very bullish, I mean, usually it's more recommended not to enter a trade when you see something like this. It's really not a very smart move. You want to wait for the markets to kind of trickle back down, calm down a little bit, and then enter. And this is a beautiful retest strategy, right? You just see this sharp impulsive move up, and what caused that sharp impulsive move is from this area. And we'll likely just see a nice little trickle back to that area before then we enter into a position. So textbook trade here, which would be really nice. Let's take a look at euro dollar. Really nice pennant, bullish pennant forming. If you guys don't know what a pennant is, it is basically what we're seeing here, but it's this really strong push up, and then we just kind of create this shape. It's a stock chart pattern, and usually what happens is a continuation into the upside. Usually, but big news day announcement. So who entered at 6:15 in the morning? Who? How is that? How is this stuff not being tracked? I'm very intrigued by when we see, a substantial amount of volume entering the market. Surely there is a broker or some type of central entity that can see an account had just placed a lot of orders, and then you just look at who owns that account, and then there you go, right? If they have any association with private information, then they've done something wrong there. But oh well. See, very nice, very similar scenario that we saw on the GU. Sharp push up, trickle down, and now it wants to continue pushing upward, which is really nice. So this could be that this could be what we were waiting for instead of the price coming down here, which would rely on the DXY coming down a lot more. Hopefully it doesn't. If the DXY doesn't need to push up anymore, then we could begin seeing this beautiful reversal into the upside on all of our major currency pairs, which would be really good for us. So back to DXY for a second. I know I'm playing around with a lot of time frames, but because this is only just over an hour session, I need to be showing you guys, firstly, what is the overall play and what I'm waiting for, and also how is the market reacting at this point in time, in real time. Yeah, starting to, hopefully we'll see a very nice push into the upside, bounce off the 200 EMA. Hopefully the London session is going to, push the DXY up a little bit more. before heading down. By the way, your confirmation will probably be down here. So I think I put this out on a higher time frame. You always wanna be looking at those lower time frames for those entry points. XAU. That little trade that I entered. Thought that would be nice, but no, not looking so good there. Yeah, that's just how it is. BTC, are we on our way down? Yeah, I think this also has quite a lot of push to go. It really needs to break below this line here on the hourly. When we see that nice break, you could probably use this as your target if you're shorting it before then going long and going up higher. Euro US dollars fine. Let's go over to GU, back to the GU. Jump into that 15-minutely again. It's nice. Yeah. Really nice nice little trade. If it played out, that'd be a really nice little trade. I mean, like, just imagine you're trading a 10 or maybe 50K account. You're going for 1 to 1.5, and I usually have like a lot size of 1. Yeah. What about 1? And what's that? Just like 14. That's about 150, 60 US dollars on a 10K account. Or $500 on a 50K account, roughly. $700, I think. I need to do the calculation a little bit better. Yeah. Head back to DXY. Got a really nice push upward. And we're on the 15-minutely, so it's really amazing that you can see the markets, they're all just interlaced, right? And so when we see a strong push on DXY, it's reflected across all major pairs. Even on the BTC, you can see, just look at that surge, huge push into the upside, and that was at 6:15 as well. That was the inflation data. What is going on here, huh? Who put in that order? If somebody is going extremely aggressive on BTC, then it just reinforces the fact that maybe, yeah, we're just gonna just enter blindly. Somebody knows something. 6:15, look at that. Just not seeing volume. Let me just come down here so you guys can see the volume a little bit clearer. See this? I saw volume over here, but look at that. Look at that volume. Spike. Before any news announcements. How interesting. Very interesting, very frustrating as well. Oh, well. So, if something clearly happened, somebody knew something, that means peace talks are likely going to go ahead and be very good. Whoa. Head back over to DXY for a little bit. Just hoping that it just pushes down. You have so many beautiful indications that it will just continue into downside. Just look at this. Beautiful. Just breaks the structure. Unfortunately, we can see there was liquidity resting here. See liquidity resting here. So, with the price coming down and just taking out whatever stop loss orders might have been resting here, and then having that strong reaction, could be something that we're seeing as well. Just reading the news at the moment. Trump will extend Iran ceasefire as status of peace talks remains unclear. So it means no one went to go and meet each other in Islamabad. Quite hopeful on the GU trade. Be a very, very nice trade. DXY, not DXY, BTC. Let's have a look at gold. Yeah, gold. That was a bad move, wasn't it? Like I said, I've not been having much luck with gold at the moment. It would be nice. Maybe we'll just see a nice little retest here, and then it will begin moving up. But not been having much luck with gold at the moment. So that's why risk management is incredibly important. I'm very unsure what happened there with the the live stream. I think the internet just went down for a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. Right, let's see if we can get these charts to reload a little bit. Here we go. Okay. So currently in a bit of a long position with the GU. Got about on the BTC USDT. Still hopeful that it will push itself back down, which would be very, very helpful. Let's see what's happening with DXY at the moment. Yeah, I think like what I was saying before is that there was just all this beautiful movement into the downside. Beautiful movement, showing that the price does in fact want to continue going down. I most certainly hope that it does push down instead of going up, which would really help. It would just play into those confirmations, because I am looking to enter into those long positions on all the other major currency pairs and eventually short the DXY. So we are starting to see a really nice push into the downside. But I've got the news up at the moment, and these peace talks are not looking very promising. And if it is announced that they are not going to, or the conflict will start up again, then this is likely going to reverse quite aggressively. And in order for that to happen, we might see the price come down to about here and then see that reversal. Maybe. Regardless, that would be pretty nice for our little trade here. That little trade is playing out quite nicely. Gold trade is also starting to reverse a little bit, which is fantastic. So head over to BTC again. So what I'll do is, because we're running into the hour, what I'll do is I'll just quickly go through all of my technical analysis for each of these instruments. So on the day, we are basically bearish on BTC, but on the 4-hourly and the lower frames, we're actually very bullish, and we can tell because we can see that we are just producing a beautiful upward trend. We are generating a lot of higher lows and higher highs. Beautiful breaker structure into the upside. This is symbolizing a potential change of character, which is going to hopefully push past this EMA, and we might see BTC retracing above 90,000 US dollars sometime this year, which would be very, very good indeed. At the moment, we can see that the price was playing beautifully into our technicals. It went up, it came back down to an unverified demand zone, and then came up. Confirmation if you entered into that trade and targeted this previous high. Wonderful. Now it's targeted, now it's gone to this previous high. We are likely going to see a retracement back into an unverified demand zone, and that's when you would be looking for your long position if you're not already looking for a short position or a short-term short position on the lower time frames. On the lower frames, if we do see a full body break into the downside, then you know that you'd likely want to target here or target here for your short position. Heading over to gold, XAU. As I said before, I'm not having much luck on XAU, but we have been seeing it play very nicely into a lot of our technicals. I apologize for all of this mess on here. Let me just remove some of this stuff here. What we can see is that the price came up. We are trending upward. We are bullish on gold at the moment, and so what we are seeing is this very nice push back into this area of demand. We can see there is a strong reaction to this area of demand on the 4-hourly frame. If we drop down to the 15-minute frame, we can see some very nice breaks of structure, full body breaks of structure into the upside. We can see a full body breaker structure into the upside from here as well. These would be act as my confirmations to enter into markets. Although I would have waited for the price to potentially retrace into here before going long, which clearly didn't happen. Although it has happened here, we can see a very nice little breaker structure here. A demand zone was formed, and you can see the price is retraced into it. I already entered. I shouldn't have, because I thought that would be the confirmation, but maybe I should have waited for a little bit of a deeper pullback before entering into a position and then targeting these previous highs up here, right? So bullish at the moment, and you can see I'm in that long position. Hopefully it plays out a little bit later. Let's head over to the JU, one of my favorite currency pairs. This trade is playing out very nicely. That means that the DXY is on its way down. I did actually into this trade as well, which is really, really good. I'm just looking at that on my MT trader. Where are we at the moment? Yeah, getting there very slowly. Recuperating some of my losses from yesterday. Very frustrating. I entered into a position and I got stopped out. I got stopped out so slightly as well. I got stopped out around about here. I was in a short position. So annoying. Anyway, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I'm bullish on the GU, and what I expected to potentially happen, or still to happen, is that the talks break down between the US and Iran, and we may see the price tumble to around here, or even further, which would likely go here into one of our potential demand zones, grabbing liquidity, bouncing off that 200 EMA, and then eventually going long. Because I don't think the conflict's going to be. Hopefully, the conflict doesn't continue. But if it does continue, then we're going to have to just change the entire strategy. This is all based on the conflict not continuing, whereby the ceasefire talks go very, very well. And if that is the case, then we will see the DXY becoming a very bearish currency, and this just puts everything into bullish perspective. So we're just riding off that at the moment, and hopefully that plays off very, very well, very nicely. Hopefully the ceasefire talks go very, very nicely, and some agreement is made. Would have been good to see that TP before heading off. Euro US dollar, exact same setup for that I have with the GU. We are very bullish on the on the euro dollar. We can see it came down. It grabbed. I think this was a weekly liquidities, a weekly demand zone, and then pushed up. It created this beautiful breaker structure. There is an unverified demand zone here. So, like I said, if those talks don't go very well, then we could see the price come to here, come to this level here, or push aggressively down to this area here on the daily. That's when we'll see a really nice reaction, but that would be a very long play. On the lower frames, I think, which is a little bit more practical, is again, if the DXY pushes up, which I was hoping it kind of would do today, then it would have just pushed up, or pushed the euro dollar down to around this area here, this unverified demand zone, and then I was going to look for a long position from there. But it seems as though I might be looking for long position. I'll wait for the New York session. If the New York session shows continued bullish momentum on the euro dollar, then that just gives me my confirmation that I want to enter into a long position, targeting potential liquidity up here, right? So that would be my play for the euro dollar. USD JPY, I am bearish, of course, obviously. Hopefully, well, we can see that liquidity was taken. We can see that the price now wants to push itself down on the 4-hour frame. Maybe the price wants to push itself into this area here before either doing a shallow pullback or a little bit more of a stronger pullback before then pushing down aggressively. Regardless, this area is what I'm going to be monitoring very, very closely. If we see that the full body candlesticks are breaking below these levels, then I would likely be looking for short positions. The structure is kind of showing us, okay, a short position is likely, but without these added areas of confirmation, I'm too afraid to enter into a position on the JU. This is US dollar to JPY, so it relies heavily on the US dollar devaluing, and if it devalues, then we're going to see a really nice, we're hopefully going to see a really nice push down on the JU. And then finally, DXY. This is what we're waiting for. This is the golden one. It has just been such a hectic market these last couple of days. There's been no very clear trend. If we zoom out, to let's say just the daily, we can just see it came up beautifully. There was a really nice trend. We could see a lot of breaks of structure into the upside. We were trending up. This was all around the conflict happening, and then we just get this change of character, break of structure into the downside. We then see that this demand zone was formed. We can see a really nice reaction to that formation, and then based on our analysis, it should continue up slightly. That's what I'm scared of, right? Before pushing down. But if it doesn't retrace upward, if it doesn't retrace into the upside, and it does continue down, and we see a nice breaker structure here, then I would be more confident to enter the market and target this zone here. So this unverified area of demand, which is resting at around the 96.862 level. That would be my target. I would probably enter sooner than that, actually, because I'm on the daily. I don't want to be waiting for a daily break. I would want to be waiting for a 4-hour or a 1 hourly break and then end on the 15-minutely. So that would be my play. But that's why I'm hesitant. That's why I'm very, very hesitant at the moment on the DXY, because based on our analysis, we should be seeing it push up a little bit more before going down. And so I'm pretty hesitant on that fact there. Yeah, on the lower time frames, it's really nice because we can see a really beautiful full body breaker structure into the downside on the hourly. And that is a nice confirmation or a nice indication that the price wants to continue downward, right? So we'll see. It really is just a waiting game. Yeah, I am taking these little trades, as you can see that I have done with the GU. I'm taking these little trades, but I'm not doing anything major at the moment. I'm not risking too much capital at the moment until something quite clear begins to form. So the gold trade and the GU trade are those little trades that I'm in, but even if I get stopped out, it wouldn't be too bad for myself. I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Okay. Well, right. I mean, that's basically everything. Obviously, I don't go into equities. I don't do analysis on equities. If you are interested in equities, then do let me know in future videos and live streaming sessions. I'm happy to apply technical analysis on equities and indices if you are interested. I am not a futures trader, but I can also look at some futures markets like the EQ mini. I think would be a pretty good one, although I don't specialize in that. When we get our academy team expanded a lot more, we will open up. We will get tutors in who will be doing live streaming sessions, especially around the New York session, and they might cover equities or indices as well. But as far as AIFO is concerned, our main focus is CFD, commodities, and crypto. So these are the main ones that I want to go through with you guys. I haven't had many requests on doing minor pairs, but if you guys do want me to do minor pairs in the future, then I can include that. But I mainly just focus on DXY, GU, Euro Dollar, and the JU. So if you do want me to focus on some more minor pairs like the Aussie dollar, the New Zealand dollar, then happy to just make those requests. All right, guys, that is the hour of the live trading session. We do want to start doing New York live trading sessions in the future. Not my main forte, but they are fun sessions to trade. So we have got that coming up, and we will plan that into maybe July or August, September, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, we're doing this every week on a Wednesday. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the next live session. Thank you again. Thank you for joining today. And that is everything. See you guys next week.